What I'm about to tell you is something most people will never hear. Not because it's secret, but because nobody is paying close enough attention to see it. Right now, you are giving away something that is quietly keeping you poor. Not bad luck, you. The way you give, the way you share, the way you hand over the three most valuable things a person can own, without even realizing it. And here's what makes this so dangerous. You've been told your whole life that giving is good, that generosity is a virtue, that sharing is the right thing to do. But what nobody told you, what the wealthiest Chinese families have known for generations, is that there is a difference between giving wisely and giving blindly. And that difference? It is the entire gap between building wealth and staying stuck. I have spent years studying how certain Chinese families move from nothing to generational prosperity in 1 or 2 generations. And the pattern I kept seeing wasn't just what they built, it was what they refused to give away. Stay with me, because by the end of this, you will never look at generosity the same way again. Now, before I go further, let me tell you why I know this. I didn't learn this in a classroom. I learned it by watching, by sitting inside Chinese family homes, studying their habits, their conversations, their financial decisions, and most importantly, their silences. Because what Chinese families don't say is just as powerful as what they do. I watched grandmothers who came to this country with nothing, no language, no connections, no safety net, quietly build property portfolios within 15 years. I watched fathers work double shifts but never complain about being tired, because complaining was considered a leak, a drain on the household energy. I watched young children being taught, not with textbooks, but with behavior, that certain things in life are not for sharing. Not out of selfishness, but out of deep generational wisdom. There was one elder I spoke to years ago. She said something I have never forgotten. She said, "The river does not apologize for having banks." Think about that. A river without banks isn't generous. It's a flood. It destroys everything around it and loses itself in the process. That one sentence changed how I understood wealth, boundaries, and the quiet discipline behind Chinese prosperity, and it is the foundation of everything I am about to teach you. But here is what most people don't understand, and this is the part that changes everything. Chinese prosperity thinking is not built on luck. It is not built on connections alone. It is not even built purely on hard work. It is built on a law. A quiet, invisible law that most Western thinking completely ignores. The law is this: protection comes before generosity. Read that again. Protection comes before generosity. In Chinese family systems, you do not give from your abundance. You first protect your core. You protect your time, your money, and your energy, fiercely, deliberately, without apology. And only after those 3 things are secured do you give, invest, or extend yourself outward. Most people do the opposite. They give first, they help first, they spend first. But then they wonder why they feel empty, broke, and exhausted every single time. It's not a character flaw, it is a structural mistake. You are pouring from a vessel that has never been sealed, and until you seal it, nothing you pour in will ever stay. The 3 things Chinese families refuse to give away are not random. They are the 3 pillars of every wealth system ever built: time, money, energy. Let me show you exactly what that looks like, starting with the one most people give away before breakfast. If you think money is the most valuable thing a person owns, you have already made the first mistake. Time is the only resource that cannot be earned back. You can recover lost money, you can rebuild broken relationships, but a wasted hour is gone forever. And Chinese families, especially the ones building wealth quietly across generations, treat time like it is sacred territory. They do not give it away to people who don't deserve it. They do not sit in conversations that drain without returning. They do not spend weekends performing busyness that produces nothing. But then, here is what most people miss entirely. It's not just about working hard with your time, it's about who you allow to take it from you. In many Chinese households, there is an unspoken audit happening constantly. Does this person add to this family's progress, or do they subtract from it? That question determines access. Not rudeness, not coldness, just a quiet, disciplined assessment of where time flows. I have watched Chinese parents pull their children away from friendships, not because the other child was bad, but because the relationship was consuming hours that belonged to the family's future. That is not cruelty, that is long-term vision operating in real time. Here is the correction most people need to make starting today. Stop treating your time like it is free. Stop saying yes to every request, every invitation, every crisis that is not yours to carry. Your time is not a favor you owe the world. It is the raw material of your destiny. Protect it like the Chinese families do, deliberately, quietly, without guilt. Because the moment you take back your time, your entire life begins to reorganize itself around your priorities. Within weeks, not years, you will feel the difference. Now here is where it gets even more uncomfortable, because this one is going to challenge something you were taught to believe is noble. Chinese families do not give their money away freely, not to friends who ask, not to distant relatives who call in crisis, not to social obligations that quietly bleed the household dry month after month. And I know what you're thinking. That sounds selfish. But then let me show you what selfish actually looks like. Selfish is watching your children inherit debt because you couldn't say no at the dinner table. Selfish is smiling at everyone else's celebration while your own foundation is crumbling underneath you. The Chinese wealth principle around money is not stinginess, it is sequencing. There is a concept practiced quietly in many Chinese households called eat bitterness first. You delay gratification, you absorb discomfort now, so the future generation does not have to. You do not spend what you haven't secured. You do not share what you haven't multiplied. Most people spend money to feel generous in the moment. Chinese families save and invest money to be powerful for generations. That is the difference between looking wealthy and building wealth. Here is what almost nobody talks about. Many Chinese families operate with a household financial wall, an invisible boundary where family money is protected from outside requests, social pressure, and emotional manipulation. When a friend asks for a loan, the answer is rarely an immediate yes. It is a private family conversation first, because money given without strategy is money that rarely returns. Start treating your money the way Chinese families do, as a protected resource, not a social tool. Guard it first, grow it second, give it only with intention. But of all three, this is the one that will shock you the most, because almost nobody is talking about it. The third thing Chinese families refuse to give away is their energy. Not physical energy alone, emotional energy, mental energy, spiritual energy. The invisible fuel that determines how far a person can go before they collapse. In Chinese thinking, there is a deep understanding that energy is not unlimited. It is a finite resource, just like money, just like time. And the people, situations, and emotions you allow into your inner world will either build that resource or drain it completely. I have watched high-functioning Chinese professionals go completely silent on social media during important business periods. Not because they were struggling, but because they understood that every argument you engage in online, every drama you absorb, every emotionally toxic person you keep in your circle, costs you something real. It costs you clarity. It costs you drive. It costs you the focused intensity that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. But then, here is the brutal truth most people are not ready to hear. The biggest drain on your energy is not your workload. It is the relationships you have not ended, the conversations you keep having that go nowhere, the people who take your emotional investment and return nothing but chaos. Chinese families have a word for these people. They are considered bad luck carriers, not because of superstition, but because their presence consistently correlates with disruption, distraction, and decline. Starting today, audit your inner circle, not with anger, not with drama, but with the quiet, firm clarity of someone who has decided that their energy belongs to their future. Because when you stop bleeding energy in the wrong directions, you will feel a strength inside you that you forgot you had. Now I need to make something crystal clear, because I don't want you to walk away from this thinking Chinese families are cold, closed, or selfish. That is the opposite of the truth. Chinese families give enormously, but they give strategically. They give to their children, relentlessly, sacrificially, with a long-term vision most people cannot comprehend. They give to their immediate household, pooling resources, sharing labor, protecting each member like a fortress protects its people inside. They give to relationships that return value, not in a transactional or cold way, but in a way that recognizes that healthy relationships flow in both directions. But then here is the key distinction that changes everything. They do not give to be liked. They do not give out of guilt. They do not give because someone applied social pressure, emotional manipulation, or a manufactured urgency. They give from a position of strength, never from a position of fear. And that is the reframe I want you to carry with you from this moment forward. Protecting your time, money, and energy is not selfishness. It is the foundation of real generosity, because you cannot pour from an empty vessel. You cannot build a future for your children while bleeding out for people who would never do the same for you. The most giving people in the world are not the ones who say yes to everything. They are the ones who have built so much through discipline, protection, and long-term thinking that when they give, it actually means something. That is the Chinese model of prosperity. Protect first, build second, give from overflow, never from scarcity. So let me bring it all together, because this is the moment everything either lands or gets forgotten. The three things Chinese families never give away freely are not mysteries. They are not secrets locked inside a culture most people cannot access. They are principles, universal, timeless, quietly operating in every wealthy household that ever built something that lasted. Number one, their time. They treat every hour as sacred territory that belongs to their future first. Number two, their money. They protect it before they share it, grow it before they spend it, and give it only with intention, never out of obligation. Number three, their energy. They guard their inner world with the same intensity they guard their bank account, because they understand that energy is the engine behind everything else. Here is the fundamental law underneath all three. Protection comes before generosity. Seal the vessel before you pour. Build the fortress before you open the gates. And when you do give as someone who chose to, not as someone who was cornered into it. Now I am asking you to do one thing. Right now, in the comments below, write the word protect, not as a symbol, as a declaration, as the moment you decided that your time, your money, and your energy are no longer available to anyone who has not earned them. This is not the end of your generosity. This is the beginning of it. Go build something that lasts.